Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Bob Whitcomb. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Good. All right, everybody needs more coffee. I am Bob Whitcomb with local business Nitro, rocket fuel to skyrocket your profits. So I help local businesses with marketing online, and here we go. A lot of people don't realize that companies. Oh, we have this anyway. Yay! Is there a way to drop that? No.
Yes, on the three dots.
Click the three dots.
This thing runs around. I'm like,
Yeah, that's right.
Hide video panel. Or
Hide.
hide floating meeting control.
whoops, I saw it there. Yay, look at that.
Okay.
So, yeah, we all have our lots of plugs that need to be filled for leaks, and we'll show you some of those samples here. Right here.
There.
What's happening? Gotta get out of
Click it.
click the screen somewhere. Oops. Hey, there we go. All right. So he's saying we cannot be judged like a book cover, but obviously they do online. How many do that? I know I do that all the time. Google My Business is where you first find people, and actually there is a location there where you can put photos. So many times I go there and companies have, anyone want to claim this business? It's not even, right there from the get-go, you're just finding out. You guys haven't even bothered to do that. You can actually post photos, information on there. Reviews can be on there. That is a huge leak, because so many people have bad reviews, don't even know it, don't even have reviews, and nowhere to be found on a map. Social media, how many platforms you're on, how have you updated it, interactions, likes, shares. You can see a lot from that. And then also your website. Is it tired, worn out? Google Plus 3.5 years ago is no longer, and I'm surprised how many sites I see a link for Google Plus along with all the other social media ones. AOL, dealing with a client now that's got that, or email like AOL, yes. So what's the speed? There's lots of different speeds you can get. Pay for the speeds. Companies spend millions of dollars to have a little millisecond taken off of how quickly that thing lights up. I mean, if you're a big company and you want customers, you better have it pop up, not sit there and grind away. And then phone number at the top of the page. How many times do you have to go, oh, more information? Where do I click to contact them? Oh, there's a phone number. It should be at the top of the third page. I mean, there's another leak that people do. Where is this guy? Empty calendars. How many times you see calendar links? You go through there and there's maybe one thing on there. It's like, why even just take it off? Get rid of that. There's another leak. Broken links and spelling and punctuation, huge. And if you don't believe it, it really makes a difference. So that's my job, is to help with local companies. I like mom and pop, small business, middle business, to help them build a relationship and just see over time, hey, the excitement that they have. Hey, we're getting more calls. Every month we send out a report. This is what we're doing. This is what we recommend, and we've got a whole line of things we can do for you guys. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And we would like to get in with a company and say, all right, let's work on fixing those leaks. Once all those leaks are all taken care of, then your marketing dollars are going to pay off, and we kind of make it look like a rocket. That's the nitro is the fuel. And guess what happens if you don't fix all your leaks? Has anyone ever seen Elon Musk lately? Boom, right? And they got to test it. They got to test before they launch, and boom, back to the drawing board. So,
That dude's dead, by the way.
what's that?
Guy in the rocket truck.
Oh no, I think this was before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one recently, that was crazy. Yep, fuel leaks. So yeah, we have a step-by-step simple plan to help local businesses, and I'm excited to help you guys do that. I've done every kind of sales you can think of, real estate. I did timeshare, cruises, vacations, all that stuff, and making Conrad, Hilton, Richard. I never meet the guy, I never know, but it's nice to have, one-on-one relationships, helping people, and just knowing, hey, this guy appreciates me, I appreciate them. It's a building relationship thing. That's what I'm into. So, yeah. That's it. Wait, how much time we have left? 50 seconds. Yes. Thank you. May all be seated.
Can you also help in the writing or illustrating?
Yes, we can do that, and also advertising, all that sort of thing, you know, whatever you want to put in, whatever advertising you like to get into. Facebook's huge, Instagram, all that sort of thing, so do all the platforms and everything else. Yes.
Testimonial for Bob. For many years now, I've been trying to get my business linked to Google My Business. And because I didn't have a physical storefront, it's very difficult to try to figure out how to do that. So being that I've been renting storage units and living in a condo, it's almost impossible. And I met Bob a couple weeks ago here after the meeting, and he turned me on to his people. They're in the Philippines, but this gentleman, Dave, who works with Bob, he's emailing me, he's leaving me voicemails, he's doing everything he can to help me get my business to where it needs to be. He's charged me nothing. And he's gone way above and beyond to help me get things going. And I really appreciate it. And I wanted you to know that I really appreciate it. Now we're waiting for one more Google access code, verification code
Yeah.
to come in hopefully this week, so we can go ahead and put my business legitimately on Google My Business.
Yeah, and you've talked about wanting to advertise, and
Right.
That's why we're holding out. Wait, let's get it all in place.
Correct.
All the leaks gone. Boom.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, obviously you got some people in the Philippines. How many people do you have behind you? And what's the typically cost for somebody to do business with you? And how encompassing is that going to be?
Okay, yeah, we got all little segments. This guy, his name's David. He's been a magician. I've been a juggler my whole life. We met out on the beach in Clearwater. Great guy. He's been up in Boston running, helping other entertainers all over the world. Went down to Key West, do some street performing. We were just having fun. He met a beautiful wife, Philippines, got married, moved over there. Now he has several families. I'm trying to build it up to a village, provide the village. So $6 a day is what these guys are living off of and happy with, sort of thing. So I am able to provide very competitive pricing, and these guys work overnight, different time zone, but he doesn't want me to tell people he was a magician, but to me, he does the magic behind the scenes at night, like the little elves, building your business. So that's it. Yeah.
So with regard to the presentation, thank you for doing it and all that.
Yeah.
My suggestions are you don't read from the screen,
Right.
because we're supposed to be focused on you. And anyway, the other thing was that, and I think it was in the comments as well, you didn't really tell us that much about your business. So you didn't, like, how do you make money, and what services you provide, and ideally testimonials or case studies of things that you've done in the past that give us an idea, a more concrete idea, because the more detail you provide in that regard, the higher the chances of somebody in the audience who hears it says, oh, I had a need for something like that.
Okay.
Right? Because otherwise they don't know, and they're making assumptions, and as much as people are fond of making those assumptions, they're not fond of asking questions.
Right. Okay.
So just FYI.
I do want to piggyback off of that. Trevor had asked, can you give specifics of how you help?
How it helps.
Of how you do?
Of how I do.
Like what does the company do?
Yeah, we do the social media marketing. We do the website designs. Facebook, we can do. There's like 6 different Facebook, Instagram, all those, whatever you want.
Platforms.
Yeah, and Google My Business. We post every day, 5 days a week. We're posting on Facebook. We're posting on Instagram. We're posting on Google My Business. We can do it all. If you have a photo you want to send us, we can either just post the photo, or more than likely we're going to add some text to it, make it more like a meme. Has your contact information on there. So each time it's posted. And the beautiful thing is we go month to month. If you're not happy, we don't have to sign long-term contracts. You don't have to be trapped in anything. And all of the work we do, all these customized things, when we're done and you want to part ways, it's all yours. So many other businesses, you got to sign a contract. You break it, we're taking it all, and you're stuck, and you got to start all over. So we're just opening up to say, hey, we're real. where there's families over there that can do this stuff. They spend a lot of money on these machines that can do the apps that can do all these programming sort of things that you can do yourself, but by the time you spend all this money, sort of thing. So that's where we want to be available. Yes,
Hydroponic customized e-marketing.
yeah, yeah. So anything you want, and that's why when you ask prices for like website, it has so much to do with all.
Start with that type
Okay.
of e-marketing, under that you have all of this.
Yep, good. Oh, going back here and then.
And what Rupert said, on your next revision of your presentation, I like what you started off with, and I think it's a great myth of us, which is you can't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Actually, yes, you can, and yes, people will.
Mhm.
They will judge your business by the cover, and let that be your narrative theme running through your next presentation. Carry that through the entire thing as you describe what you do, why you do it,
Okay.
and where you're going with this. So that would be my challenge, to make a nice narrative presentation around that theme.
Yeah,
I wish I would have met with you ahead of time.
that'll help create a story that people can follow throughout the presentation.
Yeah, yeah.
Put two and two
I
together.
like that.
I remember my question.
Right.
So I understand you do a plethora of things under marketing. If you had to choose like one or two, like the bread and butter, the ones you do the most or do better than everyone else, what would those one or two be? And then, again, hypothetically, if we're the company that's hiring you, what's your value proposition for that? So as quick as you can, not drawn out.
I don't know if I got all that.
Okay, so
But-
what one or two things do you do really well? That's your bread and butter, that really pays you well, you do well, and that you see helps you stand apart from like all other marketing companies.
Right.
I think that the nice intro is to do all the social media marketing, because we can start with that. If they have a website, that's okay to get started. We start generating, profits, phone calls coming in, sort of thing. And then when they get to the point going, all right, we need to work on the website. I mean, we can do a landing page, it's a real simple one, or we can do the full e-commerce with all the bells and whistles. I mean, all whatever you want.
So really, social media, you would say, is like your bread and butter, because you're really good at those, helping with those 6 main sites that people use.
Yeah, and especially Google My Business, because we're dealing with local business that need to get local traffic. And a lot of times when they go, hey, we're the best in the world, and it's like, really, how about the best in the street, in the neighborhood? That's where people will search, and it's keywords and searching that you can, help with all that. So we, been doing this a while, we know our stuff, but I haven't learned to do it in 6 minutes yet. So, but yeah. Anyone else?
How do people find you?
That's a good question. Either from my website, or really it's just meeting people, me going out there, and I consider myself boots on the ground, but I'm also working with scuba diving companies, so I'm fins in the water, and then on the beach shops, gotta have flip flops on the deck, right?
So are you marketing on Google and everything else and the other platforms and?
And I'm also, every time I travel, I was just up in Fort. I get a bunch of businesses up there, wherever I go. I love traveling. My parents have traveled the world. My whole family's traveling. I love it. I've been to 49 states, and if I can help people with phones and on the internet,
Which one haven't you been to? Gotta know.
what's that?
Which one haven't you been
I
to?
haven't been to Alaska yet, so that's on the docket. And I got a friend who's an entertainer who does cruise ships, and right now he's sending beautiful pictures from Alaska. I'm like, it's all good. So time will come. So, good. Local business Nitro.
So Trevor says, how do we find you? We didn't see where to find you or how to connect with you.
Oh.
So we want to look at your business before reaching out.
Yeah. Did I not hit the last page? Anyway, localbusinessnitro.com.
Hit Alt tab. Yes.
Wait.
Hold down Alt tab.
Oh, wait, it's going around like crazy.
And then just tap one more right there.
That's it right there. Local business Nitro is the name.
Oh, there, I
Okay.
have to push the button. There we go. Yay, there it is. Businessnitro.com. Man, no wonder I had 50 seconds left. I had another slide. Yeah. Any other questions?
So when you do your social media marketing, you handle the copy, the art assets, video, and all that stuff?
Yeah, we'll do video stuff. It's all on the website, but yeah, we'll come out and do short video stuff and whatever you need. I mean, we can do it all, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, yes.
How'd you get into this? I mean, what? Before, like, let's share a little bit of your story, like, why are you doing this and that?
Right. Well, I have been the world's strongest juggler. My whole life, I've traveled the world as world's strongest juggler, been to the White House, been to Pentagon, America's Got Talent, all these TV shows and all that. At the time, I also, probably more than entertaining, I love to eat. And I got to 444 pounds and now I'm 222, and half the man I used to be. And so I don't do bowling balls anymore, even though I'm going to attempt to do them upside down underwater again and film it, right? Yeah, I'm just kind of gone from still wanting to travel and not necessarily, my shining face if I have to, but I'd rather kind of be behind the scenes sort of thing. And meeting David and realizing, and I did all this social media stuff back when it was just starting out, but to do it all alone, and then I find, hey, my buddy's got this thing all set up. I'm just the conduit, so, yeah.
Man, a slide with your bio, even on your website, or just a little snippet of what you said, like, that's an amazing, very unique background story. Like, we don't get to meet that many people.
So,
With all the stuff you're juggling in business and in
Yeah,
marketing.
that's right.
It's all there.
No, so I think that would help, not just this presentation, but even on your website about us, just showing some of that, because like, Rupert was saying, people buy into your story.
Yeah.
And so knowing that's kind of where you came from and kind of what made you transition, all of that lends into your marketing and your branding.
Yeah.
That you're doing now.
I've actually performed in over 300 prisons all over the country, including death row up in Ohio. And that's a whole nother story and an amazing thing that happened there. So we'll stay tuned. Next time, in 6 months, I'll tell you.
We got 250.
Yeah, please work on your brand, honestly, that is going to, that's your differentiator, that is your uniqueness.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's gonna separate you from the 50,000 other marketers
Mhm.
that are right on the street right here.
Right.
Right,
That are all saying the same shit you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
So stop saying the same shit that everyone else is saying.
Yeah.
Start being honest, just be open and honest and tell people why you care about this so much and share and open up. And that's how it'll change your business or change your conversations forever.
Mhm.
You got a great website. You can be trained as for all startups.
Yeah,
$6 an hour,
right.
a dream come true for them.
Well, I get part of that.
Yeah.
That's fair. You gotta run a business.
Yeah,
You should capitalize on it.
yeah, absolutely.
You got a business develop.
Right. So go your business and let them do the magic.
So the one thing I would mention is in regards to, the customized approach where you're dealing with every customer based on, their needs. You have to get to a place where you're templating it, because as you grow, it becomes a whole lot difficult. Right? So you give them an option where, hey, this is the template for this price, but if you want us to customize it to the nitty-gritties, then there's a different price for it. Because doing custom customer to customer in the beginning might be affordable for the team,
Right.
but as you continue growing, it becomes very difficult.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. In coffee, like there's this company doing kind of the same thing that you're doing, but they go and create content that is related to coffee. And if you're a coffee business, then they're pushing the same content to all your customers, but customizing a little bit. So
Right.
they don't have to sit there and write articles every other day.
Right, yeah. Well, there's different categories. We already have all the templates that we've done. All we do is swap it out and put it into their name and all that sort of thing. But yeah, it would be more to get more of that would be good. Yeah.
I was just thinking, how you get your business and it's toes in the sand and fins in the water, but I was just thinking of myself when I first started. The navigation through Google My Business and trying to establish yourself and doing it properly and then getting into that hurdle of not knowing where to jump. As you can see, I mean, I put myself in a situation that's been the challenge, right?
Right, yeah.
So every small business, usually locally, will register with the city that they live in, or the
Okay.
county, right?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking for you to go pull business
Records.
records or certificates or licenses to see who's opened up a new business, you guys are affordable.
Yeah.
And for a guy like me who's cash flow hungry, you know, everybody wants $800, $900 a month to do this. If you're able to do it for a startup to get me going and get my stuff taken care of, I'm just gonna continue to grow with you.
Right, yeah.
So I'm thinking instead of being, you know, on the ground every day walking, maybe just head out to some of these local municipalities and see if you can get some business registration there.
Yeah, my last job this past, because of the whole COVID thing, was working at Hilton Grand Vacations on the phone, because I want to get my skills, you know, face to face. Before that, I did door knocking. I mean, I'm an entertainer. I'll walk up to anybody, anytime, you know, whatever. But probably more efficiently is to be on the phone, you know, just boom, send stuff out. So working on that. Yes,
Have you shared about your crypto life?
what's that?
Have you shared about your crypto side of yours?
Oh, no, see, we only have 6 minutes. But yeah, part of it is photography behind the scenes and unique ways that are turning to NFTs. I'm connecting with the bit world and all that, so,
What? You're doing that in this business?
right, what?
You can tell us,
I'm
like, that right there, I mean, so many people want to do NFTs or know about them.
Right, oh, yeah,
And if you have that knowledge
absolutely.
for a business. that
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Actually,
You know, the artists, I've had friends that are at the arts shows and at galleries. They're clamoring, going, tell me about this NFT stuff. I can get resell value 10% every time it sells, you know, perpetuity, but so. yeah.
All right, so final question is, what can we as a community do for you?
Spread the word that we're here and test the waters and see if my thins work.
All right,
Yeah.
Bob, thank you very much.
Remember you. Where he's got talent. Yeah.
You really?
What? You didn't remember him until he said it?
I balanced a stove on my head and juggled eggs and threw them up into the flaming frying pan for a well-balanced breakfast.
Pull it up on him.
It was bad.
So for a while back in the 90s, I billed myself as the world's strongest humor writer. I don't know if it was actually true. No one ever contested it. And they're all kind of pencil necks anyway. So I figured I could probably easily hold that title. If anybody challenged me, I was going to challenge them to an arm wrestling contest. No one ever stepped up. I held that title for 12 years.
Nice.
Now I'm just right upside down underwater.
Exactly. So what I wanted to do, Denny, we're going to do your ideas soon. I want to give you time to prepare for that. But what I want to do, as Bob was talking, because my regular job is content marketing and some social media marketing, and I thought of a thing to add on to what Bob was saying, and it's kind of it's not a 101 level tip. It's like a 401 level. It's like senior level stuff. That if you're doing everything Bob is doing and everybody is doing everything Bob is doing, how are you going to differentiate yourself? So what I want to do is I'll tell you my thing in a minute to give you time to think, but what is that one deep level secret about your business that that you know and that you do and that gives you the edge over your competition? So not the 101 level stuff like be on Twitter. You know, that's basic. I can tell people to be on Twitter all day long, and some of them will do it. And then they come and say, well, what should I put on Twitter? And now it's like 201 level stuff. It's like, oh, well, we need to talk about, we need to communicate with the people we're connecting with. We need to ask and answer questions. We're not advertising, right? So we're getting deeper and deeper. So what is your deep level secret that you have? I'll tell you the thing that I thought of when Bob was talking, as you're thinking of your own. So there's you all know what HTML is, right? Hypertext markup language. That is the code that makes a website. There's another additional markup language called schema, SCHEMA, and you can look it up at schema.org. And this is sort of a joint venture between like Google and Microsoft and Apple. Some of their people got together and they said, we need to make something new that we can all take advantage of. So right now, Michael, what's the address of this place? 3218 East Colonial. So if you were to put that address on the website, all Google sees is 3218E.COLINIAL, right? That's all it sees. It doesn't know what that is. It's just a string of letters and numbers. What Schema does is it tells the search engines, this is a thing. This is an address. So 3218 East Colonial. This is an address. It's in Orlando. It tells Google and Bing and Yahoo, this is a city. FL is a state. What's the zip? 32803. This is a zip code or a postal code, right? So it tells Google, this is what this thing is. So you could put you could write an article, a blog article about a book, and you tag the title of the book is this is a book. This is an author, this is a person, this is a sport, this is a whatever, right? Schema tells Google what this thing is. It's not just a collection of letters and numbers. It's a thing that Schema recognizes, okay? So when you're putting your address, your business address on your website, you put, and you'll talk to your webmaster about this, but you'll tag your address as your address, your city, your state, your zip code. That's all important because of what Bob is doing. Because Bob is going to Google Business and tagging your business. He's going to put the business incubator on Google Business, and Google Business is going to recognize this location on its map, right? What location is it? 3218 East Colonial, Orlando, Florida, 32803, right? It's going to recognize all that. And it's going to go looking and it's going to find one day a website that has those letters and numbers. And if it sees those letters and numbers, it might go, oh, those match the letters and numbers that we have over here. But if you mark it up with Schema and you say, this is an address, this is a city, this is a state, and Google says, wait a minute, we know what those things are. And we have seen them over here on this Google Business listing, where we have listed their address, their city, their state, their zip. And by God, those things match. This is this address. This is this city. This is this zip code, right? And so once Google sees that on your website and it knows that it matches your Google Business listing, you go even higher in the rankings, because almost all search today is based on local search, right? You look at your phone, where's the nearest McDonald's? Where's the nearest business incubator? Where's the nearest print shop, right? If you do that on your laptop, it still looks for what is the closest to you, not what is the print shop with the best optimized website and it's in Reno. It's what is the closest one to you. And how does it know it's the closest one? Because they tagged their address with the Schema code and owned their Google Business listing. And that print shop will show up even though it doesn't have the best website. So talk to your webmaster about tagging, nothing else. Tagging your address line and your phone number with Schema code, and then making sure that that same information is in your Google Business listing. That's that 401 level piece of advice. Question?
So I think you just answered it. So this doesn't change keyword searches or any
No.
type of things internally amongst your website or any of your blogging.
Correct. You'll still do all of that.
Yeah, it's still for physical addresses and phone numbers.
Correct.
Okay.
So my company isn't so much local as it is global. And because it's all digital and so forth. And so, you know, people from all over the world apply to work with us and apply, you know, to have us publish their games and all that. So you're using an address in that example. Can we use the name of the business as the example?
There is a Schema code for company.
Right.
Yes, or business. So yes, you could do that.
And so if we do that for the company, does that increase the chances of people seeing all the stuff related to us on the
Not
internet?
necessarily. I don't know the answer to that, but I don't.
But does it do that on the address side?
Yes. So somebody local,
So why wouldn't it do it for anything else?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Google's a vast mystery.
Right, okay.
I was gonna say, I think under the micro data, like I think that's the main like gist of it. It's just understanding, like you said, you used address as an example, but it literally works with anything. So under considering micro data, you go in and you give more characteristics or more descriptions to something. I was on their website just checking it out. Like, for example, you say this is the name of a movie, or give, you're giving more details to it. So it's some back-end development, basically. So like he said, your webmaster, someone who knows all this IT stuff can go in and kind of do it. So it's definitely, you're talking like 401, like,
Yeah.
dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, this is the point.
Like confused.
Bob.
There's also alt text on every photograph. You can describe the photographs.
Yes.
They don't know what it is. They
Yes.
just know it's photo, but if you say this was at this location, or, pinpoint it down, that will help the search engine as well.
Yes,
And then also there's things called local citations where the name, the address, and the phone number are, there's Yelp, there's Yellow Pages, there's all these search engines, there's hundreds of search engines that Google, Bing, and Yahoo will go to, and if everything matches identically, they go, this is legit, and it's up. If you have so many mismatches and there's engines that can find all that, Google's going, I can't trust them. They don't.
Yep,
Nobody.
exactly.
Everything, even if it's a comma, or Southwest is SW, it's got to have consistency.
yeah, this is where proper formatting, like we all learned in elementary school, becomes important. Abbreviations with a period, et cetera, et cetera. So who else has a secret? Who has that big, deep secret that you share with your very special clients?
Oh, you mean in our own personal? Right.
With your work, like, what should we all know?
I can tell you this, I pull out the beauty out of my clients. So what makes them amazing and beautiful, unique, I can pull that out. If they don't recognize it or see it, I'm the one like, hey, it's right there.
How do you do that?
So a lot of times I ask
Rupert.
a lot of questions. I've already done Rupert.
Ah,
Yeah, we did that like last week. But so what happens is your gifts and your talents, or your competencies, let's say. I was doing it with the one that sat here.
that was
Say-
me.
No, that wasn't you. It was Scott. Yeah, Scott. There we go.
Oh.
So and it's just a matter of your competencies and what you know how to do is great, but your genius is where you're going to like really thrive. And so whatever your genius is, a lot of times you either sit on it, you put it under a bushel, you're like, no, I can't, even though it's so easy for you. It's kind of like your gift, it's innate, it's part of your DNA almost. So you're like, why should I get heavily compensated for something that's just so easy and simple? But if you think of music artists, if you think of basketball players, if you think of people who have studied or trained and it became like naturally, it seems unique at something, they get paid a ton of money for it. Why can't you?
Mhm.
Why can't your genius become something that sustains you? And
Yeah.
then, like the saying goes, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
And the geniuses make it look so easy. Remember the Orange County chopper guy? I'd watch him like he'd bend metal and do all kinds of crazy things
Oh,
with a chopper. And I look at that and I think, I could do that. And I go out to my garage and I try to cut a piece of wood straight. It's like, so, Michael.
Just quick show of hands, how many of you are B2B? I know she's not here in person, but she's here on the call. Jane Tracy at the Orange County Library.
right.
If you are an Orange County resident, please go see Jane. She will show you all the databases that they subscribe to. It costs you just a library card, including prospect lists for industries, by markets, by a lot of different things. So meet with Jane.
Highly recommend Jane. We had somebody here. Does anybody remember Sheila Burrell?
Oh, yeah.
She came here, and I think either Jane spoke or Jane just happened to mention something she did. And Sheila was just starting her business, and she went and met with Jane, and just it gave her 1,000 ideas to start promoting her business and her nonprofit. So
Orlando Public Library?
Orange County Public Library in downtown Orlando. So Jane, which floor are you on?
I'm sorry, I was responding. Thank you in the chat. Right at this moment, I'm on the 4th floor. But I work on different floors throughout the day and then, out in the community, of course.
All we have to do
So-
is ask for you and we'll get.
Just walk in and start yelling, Jane, and she'll show up.
Actually, we have little Boceras, yes, throughout the building. So I'm blushing, but I'm basically thankful. And I was going to put in the chat, I'm just so happy to work with all of you. And I love working with entrepreneurs. I don't know if that comes through, but I support you like 250%. I mean, I love it. And I love sharing resources and helping people go forward. And I'm so inspired by everything that you all accomplish. I have the deepest respect. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. So, but thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, my other 401 level secret is Jane.
Mhm.
So, yeah, she's a treasure. Thank you, Jane. Susan.
Jane had done a workshop probably a couple of years ago, and I attended. It was really helpful, but maybe will you be doing other workshops, Jane?
Well, thank you for asking. This is like my day. This will keep me covered all year. I did the Money Talks for Women program and I did that for several years. Using the Morningstar investment database, strengthening women's knowledge about money and investing. And it's very specific information, but also it was getting women to say the words. And I see this as connecting to what you all do here. I watched an interview with Christine Benz, Director of Personal Finance for Morningstar, and there was a financial advisor, and he said if women would just start talking and using some of the words, that would strengthen their confidence. Well, I think that also applies to other subjects, to entrepreneurship, to astrophysics. If people begin to get together in supportive groups like this, 1 Million Cups is so supportive, where you feel like you can ask a question and someone's not going to shoot you down and tell you how stupid you are. And I think that's what you all do here, is people could come in a supportive environment and speak with intelligent people, and they can ask those questions. Well, how do you do that? So thank you for bringing that up.
And I do want this to be the place where you can ask, how do you do that? You should be able to ask it in a whole room full of people and not be afraid to ask it. Josh.
I don't have anything more for Jane. I can share a secret.
Sure, please.
I want to, this young lady said up front about genius, 100%. I want to second and third that, fourth that, because when you find your genius and bring it to the surface, you actually put it into play, it's so much fun. But I was going to share something about levels of conversation. There are 3 levels of conversation. Most of us only know 2. There's actually more, but we'll just say there's 3. And we get caught on these 2, but we forget about this 3rd one. So the first level of conversation is features. Right? We talk about features. Talk about the minivan that's got the high horsepower, high capacity, take your whole family. And then beyond that, there's benefits, right? We're told, okay, talk about the benefits, have a conversation on the benefits. Yes, that's better. That's a higher level, it's higher energy, it's a little bit more attractive. So now you're talking about getting your family there faster. But there's one more level that I see very few companies actually achieve, is the mission level conversation. Now, the mission level is bigger than your company, it's bigger than you. Now it's about, you want to show your kids the world, right? It's that higher level, bigger mission. And that is the most attractive language, because now you're actually talking human. And that's the one very few companies ever achieve. But if you can get there, your business becomes a lot more fun and a lot less selling, a lot less chasing. So
That's what Simon Sinek calls the why, right?
yeah, that's part of it.
That's the why.
Danny.
Let's go with team building. You're going to have a plan. You need a team that's going to put it together. If you're in charge of this, you need to understand where your strengths and where your weaknesses. Give an example. Trevor Gibbs is down there in Brazil right now. He's a key member of our team. He's good at a lot of different things. So we're using him for a lot of things. Scott Hill just joined our team. We've got 13 other people involved right now. We've got 2 more targeted. Put together. And once we got our whole team together, we think we cover all the bases. If not, We see some base we don't know about, we're gonna make sure we can actually do that. If you're putting together any enterprise, obviously Rupert preaches about it all the time, you gotta have a plan. If you haven't got a business plan, you're not gonna get anywhere. But you have to make sure that you can take care of all the different parts of that spare business. Who's doing this, who's doing that, who's responsible for this? If you haven't got that, you're not gonna be successful. And entrepreneurs can do a lot of things. You're trying to do it all by yourself. It's really tough to do that. You can be successful, and it's very tough. You need to bring people in that can help you in different areas. Whether it be a group of advisors, whatever have.
Okay. Great. Peter.
Yeah, just to tie into what Josh said and what Dan said, it's understanding what business you're in, right? Because once you understand what kind of business you're in, everybody that you're bringing in to create that team really needs to understand that so that they can help you execute. You're not going to do everything, but in the beginning, you're going to do the most heavy lifting because that's when you're interpreting it to your developer to understand exactly what you want to accomplish. Right?
And you would think that would be 101 level advice, but it's not. We see all these businesses that has never occurred to them. So it is a deeper piece of advice. Dan.
So adding to what Denny said about trying to do everything for a new business. There's another part of web programming most people don't know about. You introduced schema before. Well, there's another part of programming a website called PHP or server-side scripting, which is very helpful when you want your website to change every day of the week with, let's say, another press release you've announced, or a grant you have received, or some ongoing news flurry. And you don't want to update the web pages manually in HTML, which we talked about today. PHP or a server script can actually take another chunk of data that you've given it and it adds it into the mix and it updates the page without you having to update HTML, which can be very time consuming. So next time you're at a website and you see the list of their news items or their grants that they're giving or receiving or something, you'll realize, wow, this is not a static website. This is a dynamic website, as programmers call it, and it's done with PHP.
That's how blogging works. And the HTML manual update is how I started blogging in 1997. Every week I would add more stuff manually to this just long ass document. And so I heard about blogging on the radio, and somebody talked about it, and I thought, well, that sounds dumb. You do it this way, manually. And then a few years later, in 2003, a friend said, "Have you heard of blogging?" I said, "Yeah, it's dumb." He said, "No, it's not." And he showed me this, and it was like, "Holy shit, I've been dumb this entire time." You had a point. What's your name?
This is Alan.
Yes.
If you get a chance,
Oh.
I'd like to talk too.
Okay, you're next after Amita. That's right. We've met. So Amita, what do you have?
Not so much a question, but a little bit about me. I do B2B and I also do. My goal is to financially get people to where they need to be and understand that your finances usually is my business helps you advocate. I can see that. With what you know and gain freedom from so that you can transform yourself and your finances in revolutionary ways to create your empire. Because everybody should innately own their little empire, whatever that looks like for you. You should own that. You should attain that. You should gain hold of that. And you have to understand that it's your responsibility to leave a legacy for the next generation, because they're walking through this generation like
Clueless.
There's no blueprint. And financial education is not taught in school. Kids are out here with checking accounts, PayPals, Cash Apps, and just spending money ridiculously. And they have no idea of what happens tomorrow. This touches home for me because I personally had a friend taken from me yesterday, broad daylight, 24 years old, had his whole life ahead of him. And I'm like, not here today. What did he leave behind? How does the world remember him? Are they gonna remember him as a news headline? Or are they gonna remember him as the person he was that walked on this earth? And I want everyone to understand that your finances are just a representation of that. You are the person, you are what your legacy is. So you are a representation of what you need.
What's your friend's name?
My friend's name is Dean. He was a gentleman that we actually made the 10 o'clock news last night.
Hear that. Everyone, please remember Dean today.
Yeah.
In a positive way. Thank you. Alan, what do you have?
Yeah, one of the things we've learned over 15 years of bringing businesses together is that every startup company, whether starting at nothing or maybe into a couple $1 million, they have to go through a phase of crawl, walk, and then run. Those that try to jump and run too fast get hurt. What we've been able to do is to identify very specific 52 items that if you follow the track of the 52 items, it'll take you through the crawl, the walk, and the run, and get you to where you can go in front of an investor and launch your business. That 52 list is really great. And it's not the same as 52 card pickup.
Okay. Jane says she has to go. Library's opening. Thank you, Jane. Vijay.
Yeah, this is going to be info techno business secret, which I just used last week. So I use the HubSpot CRM to track the leads of my customers, or leads and marketing qualified leads and all those things, and then finally convert it to opportunity and the customer. And we recently moved to a different invoicing system, which also needs the customer information. So do we manage this customer data in two places, or just have it in HubSpot CRM? And how do we manage this, right? How many of you heard about API? API. Okay, yeah. So every product like HubSpot or Calendly or Zoom or whatever that is, they provide APIs. So you just call the API, pull the customer information into this invoice system. That's what I did. So I didn't have to maintain the customer data in two places. So you can integrate. So there are a lot of discrete systems we use in our day-to-day life. We manage the data in those different systems. Same redundant data managed in the different systems. So we can actually integrate all of them. So have one data in one system so that we can pull the data through APIs.
Do you use Zapier or do you just do it yourself?
I just do it myself. I mean, I'm a programmer, I'm a developer.
Yeah, but Zapier is
Yeah, Zapier is another way of doing it. Yep.
a layman's version.
Yeah.
All right, we have time for one more. Bonnie.
I'm in the personal development space for women. I'm a life coach and a common fitness coach. And so this is something that really changed the way that I can help clients make changes in their life. People operate from 3 types of motivating factors. People have either willpower or emotions or perspective as their main motivating factors. And one of the tenets of what I coach is that everybody should have a little bit of masculine and feminine energy. If you're a man, you need a little bit of feminine energy and intuition. If you're a woman, you need a little bit of masculine energy so you can get the stuff done that needs to happen. And so I noticed that with women, it's so hard. I can willpower a few things. I'm a single mom. I have alpha female energy. I just got to do what has to be done. When I try to do that with some women who don't have that, it just doesn't work and it falls on deaf ears. And then when I have male clients and I try to appeal to their emotions, it's like, oh, that's cute, but it didn't quite hit. And so I learned that when I'm talking to certain people, I need to figure out what is their motivation. Are they someone who, if I just tell them this is what needs to be done and they'll do it, then great. Are they more emotional? If I can get them to tie their goal or the outcome to their emotion and their soul. I'm more of a perspective person. I can willpower a few things. I'm super emotionally driven, but if you can change my perspective, it's a wrap. And learning that versus just trying to put everybody into a box of this is the model, how you change, this is how you do it, and it not working, but realizing how much more complex people are and seeing which way I can talk to them has changed. And it's not just for coaching, it's for leadership and running your teams and knowing how to talk to people. So that was a game changer for me.
Eric, can I offer up one too before we go?
Sure. Chris, last one, and then we I know everyone's got to go. Sierra's got to go.
Water is okay.
Okay. This is a fast one. It's kind of tactical. I recommend on all my teams that people read Selling to Veto, VITO, if you haven't heard of it. It's a classic business tome by Anthony Pernello. It teaches you how to identify people who are wasting your time in this sales conversation, and also how to go from a top-down perspective when you're selling. So it's Selling to VITO.
Okay.
That's the best book I've ever read on selling. Absolutely correct.
Say that again.
Absolutely correct, Chris.
Changed my life.
VITO.
Selling to Vito.
Selling to Vito. All right. Let's see, wind this down. Next week, we're going to be hearing either from James Kine or from Adam Benevi. If you know Adam, he sits here sometimes, from Spot Fitness app. They are going to be doing a launch and a launch party in the next few weeks. So hopefully they will have information on that. I've been invited and told I could bring anybody, so you can all come with me. I think we can all fit in my car.
I'll be there.
But anyway, we will be hearing from James. People on Zoom, you can download the chat. If anybody here wants it, just let me know. Email me, ericdeckers@gmail.com, and I will I'll send it to you. Connect with somebody you met here today. Invite them for coffee, invite them for lunch, invite them for a phone call. Make sure you join us on our meetup.com page. If you are not on Meetup, this is where we do most of our announcing there in our Facebook group. And thank you all for coming, and I will see you all in 1 week.
Yeah, great discussion.